एकं भुवनस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि नमः सात्विकं शिवम् At this stage in my time, I'm not sure if I have a legacy, but whatever work I'm doing, I definitely see it getting transferred to my students.
कितना अध्ययन कर रखा उन्होंने, कितनी पढ़ाई कर रखी है, कितना कुछ जानती हैं. I had always been curious about Natya Shastra and Navras and how to channelize my breathing into evoking emotions. Lakshika seems to know her subject really, really well, first. And second, her way of teaching is very simple, easily understood.
She has this inner strength that carries her, but at the same time, she stays very humble about her own experiences and knowledge. And she's very curious about other practices and cultures, people, and she definitely lives life with integrity and she works with integrity. For me, she's the kind of woman that the world needs.
I am originally from a very small village in Uttarakhand called Annapurna. It's in Kumaon. I was 4 years old. I was sent to Delhi for better education since there were no schools around. The nearest school was almost 15 kilometers away, walking distance. So I studied in Delhi. But what I felt was as if somebody has plucked me from the lap of the nature. So I really missed being in the nature, in the forest, among mountains, clouds, rain, rainbow, everything, stars. So when I first in my school came across Bharatanatyam, I think I had the same feeling come back to me again, and that's when it started, and I followed it through and through. I completed my BSc from Delhi University, and along with that, my Bharatanatyam education was going on. My Bharatanatyam guru, I'm eternally grateful to her for making me her student and developing the artist in me.
Lakshika Pandey, my disciple, is a person with great commitment towards art from a very traditional outlook. Her performance was always filled with beauty and grace and poise. She had a very good sense of abhinaya, and her sense of abhinaya is actually her strong forte. जिसको कहते हैं पात्र प्रवेशन.
She was keen that I should go and learn Chau as well from Triveni Kala Sangam Delhi so that my Bharatanatyam can improve. So along with my Bharatanatyam, I started learning Chau. Later on, I went to Trinity Laban Conservatoire of Dance. There I got a very interesting worldview about performance and how all the cultures can create some interesting work together. That in itself was a training because we just brought so much from our own cultures and we shared with each other. As far as the form goes, I think the form is going to stay forever because it has. And when I talk about Bharatanatyam particularly, that in itself a documentary subject because it started from Sadir, then it became Nach, and then finally Bharatanatyam, and the modern work is still on. So form by itself is going to survive because it's very, very powerful. But I think what is lacking is the interpretation of the form for the modern people. It is the language that is used, the mudras that are used. They need a certain kind of, I won't say revival, but they need a certain kind of a new enhanced interpretation. That work probably needs to be done, and that's where I do see myself working in. Also, when we try to form a bridge between the ancient and the modern, that bridge is very, very strongly rooted in the tradition which has been thriving for many, many centuries, and you are interpreting it for the modern people. In fact, one of my very beloved teacher, Dr. Ravi Ravindra, says that how can you move from reaction to response? So either we really deny these forms or these scriptures or any ancient teaching, be it art or any other, or we just put them on a different pedestal and we worship them. I think he would say we need to wrestle with the form so that it can become our own, not just keep it on a very high plane and worship it or just discard it. When I was growing up in the Himalayas, it was visual poetry all around me, from stars in the sky to the river to the waterfalls to forest in the backyard, different birds. I think nature is the best creation of God. And by being an artist, we just try to imitate that in our forms, or probably relive it in our forms. The moment you enter a forest, the very air transports you into a different world. A world where your imagination is kindled. You know, you're so inspired to create work which can bring you closer to the nature or closer to God for that matter. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles and by opposing end them. Die, to sleep no more, and sleep to say we and the heartaches and the thousand natural shocks that the flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep perchance to dream. Aye, there is a rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. You need a certain kind of training. If you want to perform for 30, 40, 50 years, you need training, prolonged training, because some things you might understand today, but some things you might understand after your training also. What I'm specifically trying to work on is something called Art Empowerment, and this is a program for everybody, wherein I am taking the knowledge specifically from the Natya Shastra and use it to empower normal people, like people who go to offices, who are into different professions. Because I conduct a lot of workshops and I meet a lot of people, everyone is emotionally suppressed. And in this modern time, we have become obsessed with positivity, which I think is actually harming us in a very negative way. Because there is no room for something like disgust or anger or sadness. If a person can laugh, why can't the same person cry? What's wrong in that? But because we are holding all these heavy emotions inside and we are just letting all this nice outside, we are becoming heavy. If we let our emotions flow freely, no matter what it is, it's going to help people. And not just at an artistic level, but also in their own personal lives. So I would say about the field, as Mr. Samuel Beckett, my guru, my teacher, someone I really like, the founding father of absurd theatre, said, "The end is in the beginning of all things, yet we go on."